There is a new date to circle on the calendar, January 4th. That's how long Governor Inslee says new COVID restrictions need to stay in place.
Calling it a, quote, extremely alarming situation, the governor today said that he had no choice but to extend the current COVID restrictions. Good evening, I'm Joyce Taylor.
And I'm Mark Wright. Glad that you're here. The more extreme COVID restrictions were supposed to end next Monday, but now they've been extended into the new year. So what does it mean? Should we expect curfews, even travel bans? And what does it mean for the hospitality industry, which is already limping into 2021? King 5's Drew Mickelson begins our team coverage tonight. Drew.
Well, Mark, the governor said they did look at some more impactful things on the general public, like a travel ban. But at this point, they're just focusing on places, public places, where people from different households are likely to gather without masks, like the bars and the restaurants and the gyms. So he is extending those restrictions until January 4th, 3 weeks longer than originally planned. Gyms must remain closed. Indoor dining and bar service is banned. Restaurants have to do takeout or delivery only. $50 million in state funding is being made available for impacted businesses, but restaurant owners say that's not nearly enough, and they're not the ones to blame.
What we do now literally will be a matter of life and death for many of our citizens.
Governor Jay Inslee says unless places like bars, restaurants, and gyms can have customers outdoors, they need to stay closed at least until a vaccine is available. Inslee says with cases rising at record rates and hospitals nearing capacity, eliminating public gatherings like restaurants makes sense.
This is a scientific certainty. And at the moment, there is at least some suggestion that this is having a positive impact. At this moment, it is more of a suggestion than proof. But it is beyond a reasonable doubt that infections take place in restaurants.
I'm beyond frustrated. I'm beyond angry. This does not need to be done.
The president of the Washington Hospitality Association says places like restaurants and bowling alleys are not the problem, noting that since the latest ban went into effect, the number of cases has not dropped. He says the extension will only put more people out of work and more restaurants out of business at the worst time of the year.
Holidays is the time where you are able to earn the revenue, support your employees, provide the bonuses, provide your customers with joy, and then we get through the winter months. That is now all gone with today's announcement.
Now, the governor did say they'll be able to help twice as many business owners and employees who are impacted by these restrictions, but the Restaurant Association says that's just not nearly enough help. They need help from Congress, and that's something the governor says the state needs as well. Live in Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Thank you, Drew. Well, today's restriction date change hits some businesses in the hospitality industry especially hard. As King 5's Sebastian Robertson reports, many are now bracing for things to get even worse.
Tuesday, another bump in an all-too-familiar road for restaurant workers and owners across the state of Washington.
That until there's a widely distributed vaccine, we're going to be on this roller coaster ride.
Governor Jay Inslee extending the state's COVID-19 restrictions for 3 additional weeks.
So these are perhaps the most important days in the holiday season.
Elena Herber is president and CEO of Ascend Hospitality Group based in Bellevue. Of the 700 employees across the Northwest, 621 were laid off due to the coronavirus. Since then, some 30% have been hired back, though Herber fears the damage to the industry has been done.
My sense is those who felt like they could make a living in the hospitality industry may throw their hands up and go do something else, which means I don't know what we're left with from an employee standpoint, and it is frightening.
Workers like Kevin Hams, a server at this fine dining steakhouse in Bellevue. Today, he's home, furloughed.
The reality is we're not working. While there's a lot of industries out there that are working, we're not working. We're at home. We're the ones struggling, trying to make ends meet.
This while restaurants across the state are operating with a skeleton staff trying to survive on outdoor dining and takeout.
How much longer can you hold on like this?
Not much longer. Not much longer at all. It's coming down to a point where I have to find work. I have to find some type of work.
The ban on indoor dining is set to expire in January, though experts fear cases will only continue to rise, meaning restaurant workers could continue holding on with no idea for how long. In Seattle, Sebastian Robertson, King 5 News.